Hey everyone, glad to have you here doing a quick update on EOS. There's some interesting structure here on this particular asset that I want to pay some close attention to. Also talk a little bit about what I do when I'm looking at different Fibonacci retracement tools when I'm trying to determine targets when I'm entering a trade. Um, so one thing I want to point out, of course, this is not financial advice. Do your own research and you know trade at your own risk. This market is very high risk, and with all of those typical disclaimers out of the way, let's take a real quick look here at EOS. So, what I want to do is I want to look back here on December 7th, where we had our pivot. We definitely saw a pivot occur here, which marked the end of a specific trend, and a new trend is among us. And so, what typically happens, of course, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Elliott waves, but typically we have a move that does come in waves. Sometimes it's a three-wave structure, sometimes it's a five-wave structure, and I'm going to be betting that this is going to be a five-wave structure and that we're in the middle of wave number 4. So let me just kind of talk about how I got there. The tools that I use when I'm looking at a five-wave structure are this trend-based Fibonacci extension. So what this allows you to do, this allows you to get a retracement based on the size of a particular wave, and to start that retracement structure based on the pivot, the next pivot, which in this case has been brought down a little bit. The start of wave 3 is down here, and I'm actually basing it off of this low, which is at exactly 6,200. And I've got this a little off, so let me just fix this real quick here. This is my coordinates. I'm going to set this to 6,200. So that's going to be where the start of wave 3 technically would be. So I've got my low here, which is down here at 5,300, sorry, 4721. And my high for the pivots, this would mark the end of wave number 1, which the high is about 7523. And then I'm basically saying, so for wave 2, of course, we had to retrace. It looks like it ended about right here, which this is really where wave 3 actually started. And actually, if I wanted to be very precise, I could actually move this over and attach that right there using the magnet tool. It makes that really handy. So that marks 6,200 as my pivot. So what I now have here, and this is what I use when I'm looking at my targets for wave 3 and for wave 5. Wave 3 does tend to be a lot more accurate than wave 5, but if we take a look here at the style that I have on this trend-based Fibonacci extension, I'm showing the 1618 and the 2618. So basically, I'm expecting this length of wave 1. When I start the wave 3, I'm expecting it to be 161.8% the height of wave 1. And I'm expecting from this point here, wave 5 to end at 261.8% the length of wave 1. Again, this wave 5 prediction here doesn't always tend to hold true, and I'll talk about what I can do when I know wave 3 is finished to determine where my wave 5 is going to actually end. So these are the settings that I use. I use the 1618 and the 2618 as a general baseline when I'm determining targets once I know wave 1 and wave 2 are complete. So now that I've got this, I can see my target right here was at 10,734, and we reached 10,700. So we were within 34 points of hitting that target almost perfectly. And then now we are in the process of doing a corrective phase of this. Now, when I'm looking at a correction, obviously we have done a pivot here. So we have completed this wave 3, in my opinion. It hit the algo target almost perfectly. And so now I'm looking at, all right, well, where is wave 4 going to correct? So again, I'm going to use my tools, and I'm going to use just a regular Fibonacci retracement, and I'm going to measure the length of wave 3 only. So I have some high probability targets here. If I'm going to be looking at this from an Elliott wave standpoint, I'm not going to want this to overlap the 1. Once you do that, then basically you've almost invalidated any potential 5-wave structure, and more than likely something else is going on. And so that point, basically, we're going to basically say that our invalidation point here is going to be at this level, which is at 75.23, which was the high of wave 1. That was the top pivot of wave 1. So I'm really looking for a 50% or a 61.8% retracement, which means I'm pulling back to these levels. Now we can see the 50% was already hit. 50% was hit right here, and that was at about 84.50. We had a bounce, and then we are coming down, and I have a feeling we're either going to we're going to break this particular trend line that we can see here that's forming, which would be right here. We could break out of this. That would be something to look for. But my suspicion is we're actually going to be moving down. We're probably going to be moving down just a little bit, something like this. It could take time, but basically something that's going to retest this level right here. So we've got just a little level. I'll just kind of circle right here that we need to kind of take a look at. Potentially that is going to be where our support resistance retest is going to happen. Preferably, you're going to want this to go down to the 618. That's your golden zone. That's going to be where there's going to be a lot of reaction. We expect there to be a good reaction there around 7,900. So I would be looking for a reaction at 7,900. But then, where are you going from there? So I'm going to make a slight adjustment to my my wave 3 measurement. I'm going to include a couple new targets here. So I'm going to do the 236 and the 618 here. And so these are extensions. So basically the negative 236 and the negative 618, these are two targets that you would want to look for. We know that wave 3 of an Elliott wave, wave 3 is always the longest wave. So we wouldn't expect this to be 100% or more. So if you're going to look for this to go all the way out to a 100% extension, you're not looking at an Elliott wave. That's a different trading strategy you would need to follow. I don't see this going up to 15,200 unless something really big happens. I would expect this wave 5 to go to either a 236 extension or a 618 extension. And if you take a look, the 618 extension falls almost perfectly in line with the 2618 extension of wave 1. So we're looking at wave 1 retrace. So this is a trend-based Fibonacci extension where we're saying target 1 for our wave 3 is right here at 10,700. And target for wave 5 would be at 13,536. And when you measure wave 3, again, you're looking at the 236 and the 618 as potential targets for those. Still, you're going to want this retracement to complete. I don't think it's done. If you do see a break in this trend line here, then there's a possibility that this could still be moving up, probably test this 762 area and break. I think that once this completes, if it does get down to the 7,900 area, there's going to be a lot more reaction, a lot more support here. That's going to allow us to get to this algo target that we're looking at right up here, which is in the 13,000 area. So just to recap what we were talking about here, using a trend-based Fibonacci extension, point 1 is your pivot, point 2 is your high pivot, and then point 3 is going to be where the low is of that wave 1. And again, you're looking for a 1618 because we want wave 3 to be larger than wave 1. Wave 3 is always the largest wave of an impulse. And we're looking for 2618 as your extension for potential wave 5 target. It's a more probable target if you're able to retrace down to the 618. So that's just my opinion from what I've seen in the past. The deeper you're able to retrace and still reclaim that support, the more juice it's going to have as it starts to react and move its way back up. So again, I'm just seeing this as an A, B, C correction going down here to approximately the 618 before it's able to actually turn around and push up out of this area and get ourselves up to this area right here. If you're going to take a trade that's like this, I would start taking profit at some particular levels. And so let me just go ahead and pull out a different tool here, my horizontal line, and I'm going to take a look here and kind of show where we're going to have some resistance. We're going to have some resistance. Let me get this. We're going to have resistance right here, which we've really already done. We had resistance right there, which was a prior pivot on a low. So this is people that have bought in this area that they're looking to get out of the trade. You're also going to get some resistance right here. So 12,000, that's going to be an area to look for. And then especially in this area right here, which is possible, but less likely, more than likely you're going to get in this confluence zone right here, which is right on top of this area. So lots and lots of confluence at the 13,400 to 13,500 area. I would expect there to be tons and tons of overhead resistance in this area. I would be looking to get out of this area because it can reverse very, very fast. So we've got a good market structure here. I do see a lot of overhead resistance along the way, but still, you're going to be looking for a retracement. Look for a reaction at 7,900. If it breaks right here, if it breaks the 7,500 area, then this structure was nothing more than an ABC correction, and it was not a five-wave structure, although it looks to be a five-wave structure at this time. I don't have any reason to believe it's a three-wave, but look at 7,900 when that hits and see what the reaction is. That'll give you an idea of the rest of the story. Have a good day, everyone.